want to show you guys 3 different methods, and I'm going to show you in relation to the jewelry you're making and the pinch pot that you're going to make for your project. The main thing is that you're going to make your jewelry first. So I'm going to show you 3 different methods, and then you're going to decide which method to make your jewelry. Okay? So the first one I'm going to show you is the pinch method. So when you take some clay, just twist a ball of clay. Okay? Will you get that? So you're going to put a ball of clay, and this is after the clay is kneaded. I have not shown you guys how to knead the clay yet, but I will. Okay, so you're going to put it into a ball.
There's Charles.
It needs to be about the size of your fist or smaller. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my thumb into the ball of clay. Okay, and then I'm going to squeeze and rotate the ball of clay as I squeeze. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going around and around. And your goal with the pinch pot is to have an even thickness of your walls all the way around and on the bottom. Okay, so you want your hands to be vertical. If you're pinching like this, you're going to end up with a saucer shape. So if you want a nice bowl, you need to have your fingers vertical. Okay?
Okay.
So as I'm doing this, I'm kind of smoothing out the inside with my thumb. And I'm not forgetting to pinch the bottom, because you want that thickness at the bottom to be the same all along the edges. Okay? Now it looks a lot easier than it is. If you have clay that starts to dry out, the top is going to crack. Okay. So I'm just going to keep going around and around until I have a consistent bowl shape. And this may take a few tries. You may not get it right the first time. It's probably the most basic way to make anything, but it is a little bit difficult. So once you have it kind of roughed in like that, don't worry about it being in such rough shape, because we can go back, we can scrape things away, we can smooth out with a sponge. There's a whole lot we can do to make the bowl smoother and better. Okay. Alright, so that's the pinch pot. The second one is the slab method. Okay. So for the slab, you're going to need, you don't need a giant piece of clay because you're making jewelry. Okay, so this is actually pretty big. The rest of this clay, while I'm not working with it, get it wrapped up. Alright, so you need 2 sticks. They need to be the same thickness. Now this or this would be good for jewelry. You don't need a very thick slab for a pendant. Okay, so I'm going to use the one that's not quite so thin. Put it on either side, flatten it out a little bit with my hand. Okay. Then when you roll, push on the pin itself. Don't use the handles. Push right here so that you can put your weight over it. Okay, why am I using the sticks?
To make sure it's even.
Yes. Okay. Now I did not need this clay earlier. And you can tell because there's some air bubbles in there. Okay. If you find those in your slab, just poke them with one of those needles. Okay, so I'm going to roll this out all the way. And you know it's all the way if you put your rolling pin here and you press down. Okay, do you see a little indentation there? If you see an indentation, that means it's not rolled out all the way. Really put some pressure. Okay, and this is when you can go in and you can cut out whatever shape it is that you want. Not really sure what I'm doing here, but so once you have your shape, see that's kind of thick, but That's okay. You can smooth a lot of that down. Don't worry about the rough edges. Again, we can smooth that out once it starts to dry with a sponge. But the one thing I do want you guys to know is that you can't really put holes through things once it's dried. So this would be a good time to go ahead and put a hole in your clay, okay? And then you can, of course, make it larger if you need to. This is a good time to put texture in your clay. This is also a good way if you're wanting to make beads. I'll show you mine. So if you want, you know our clay is the same thickness. You want to know you're using the same amount of clay. By the way, all this clay that I'm throwing aside can be used. It can be recycled and reused. Okay, you'll see what I'm doing here? All these are the same size, so when I roll them up, which brings me to the next method, which is coil, I'll have the same size each time, okay, because I have the same amount of clay.
I thought you were going to show us how to make a bowl with. Is this with the slab method?
No, I'm going to have you guys make a pinch method, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for your bowl. Okay, so now I have some beads, or you can leave them square, or you can make them into a long coil. So you would just roll them like this. Okay, that's basically a coil. You've all done that, playing with Play-Doh when you're little. Okay, made little worms. So if you want to make something out of coil, you can combine the methods, okay? So if you want to add coils with slab, you may. Okay, if you wanted to do something like that, you could. But I'm going to show you how to slip and score those together later. Okay, but for now, I want you to decide which method would be best for your jewelry making. Okay, any questions?
Wasn't there 3 techniques? I thought you only showed us 2.
No, pinch, slab, coil.
Okay, and the coil is just rolling out plain.
Yeah, it's just rolling out clay. We're not building a bowl with it, so I'm not showing you a whole lot about coil.
Okay.
But I mean, you might want a long coil piece. Let's say you want a long coil.
Watch your hand.
And you wanted to do something with that. I mean, you could make beads that way. You could make pendants that way. It's totally up to you. Okay.
How will we make the holes in our beads?
You can use the needle tool. I also have a few things like this. We have toothpicks. This rod here is important because if you're going to glaze your bead, this is what it's going to be on in the kiln for the glaze. So it has to be a little bigger of a hole than that, because remember, whenever it fires, it shrinks, and just drying alone, it shrinks. So it's going to have to be a little bigger than this if you plan on glazing it. If you're just going to paint it, it doesn't matter the size.
So we're not going to glaze it?
It depends.
Okay.
Okay. All right.